fans, hola chicos, Richard here, back in Arboleas town. It's 7 AM on a wonderful May morning. I'm down here with Dolly the dog and at the bottom of the town, and you can probably see the little observatory or sitting up there towering behind me. We're going to do a short video today, threefold objective. Number one, to highlight some of the fantastic off-road walks that are available in and around the town. I suppose that's comparable with a lot of towns here in Almeria, you know, when you're 30 minutes inland from the coast. But let's go out and see what kind of things we have here on our doorstep in terms of you guys who love to walk and take the dogs for a walk. Second objective is hopefully we've got out early enough to see the sunrise and see some of the wonderful nature. Third objective, I'm going to do some training because I've got a big walk for a local charity, Walk for Life, coming up on the 16th of May. And I want to get some training in before that. So, hey, come on, let's go. Let's do some walking. So as I'm setting off, leaving Arboleas town behind me, I don't know if you'll be able to make out flashes of Dolly dog as we go, but you can see I'm walking along a kind of semi-reasonable trail, running through some wonderful olive groves here on my right-hand side. But I'm essentially running parallel with the main rambler that runs all the way up from the coast via Alfaquir and Zahena through Arboleas out the other side and all the way on down to Albox and Almanzora. So miles and miles of walking, countless miles of different trails taking you in different directions. But let's see how we get on today, where we end up. Wow, amazing backdrop there behind me, leaving the town behind. I'm on my own down here with Dolly, lots of birds singing away. Other than that, not much going on. The reason I've set off this early as well is because this is, as you can see, wonderful walking. But once you get to late spring this time of year, certainly rolling into the summer, if you start a walk like this at kind of 11 o'clock midday, then it's going to get far too hot and of course get warmer and warmer as you go through July, August, September. It'll be nigh on impossible. So whilst the walking's here and it's on our doorstep, you can use it, I suppose, for limited times of the day, certainly during the summer months. It's only about 800 metres or just under a kilometre out from the main town, and you can see perched atop here, this is a little hamlet called Apadero. You've got some wonderful villas there that sit along the front line looking back over the Rambla, and as you can appreciate, their views there are fantastic. They're sitting atop here, the Rambla. I'll just be a little speck in the distance for these guys, but if I carry on in this direction, you can begin to see the start of La Perla. I'm going to use this moment to say a few highs because we've got a lot of friends and clients who live here. Tracy and Taffy, maybe enjoying a nice fresh breakfast orange juice. Chris Kerry, Russell, of course, Russell and Sandra. If you're tuning into this, guys, then big hi to you all. Have a wonderful weekend. Just pan around for you here to see. Yeah, Dolly dog there off in the distance. She loves it down here. I have got the lead because you do bump into other dogs. You can hear one just in the distance there. And I've also got a mask in my pocket, but while we're out here with not a soul about, you don't have to wear the mask. The dogs can have a nice run. Just make sure you have the lead at hand. Over there in the distance you can see the hills that sit above La Cinta and El Rincon, which is where we're heading at the moment. So yeah, gone on a little bit further now, and the lovely villas and properties you see sitting atop us there all make up part of La Perla. So I'm following round La Perla on my right, but heading over to El Rincon and La Cinta in front of me. Absolutely wonderful to be back here down on the Rambla. This is my first walk of the year following this route. At the moment we're usually walking around the town, and being down here is just a lot freer, a lot more open, a lot more quiet. It's wonderful walking around the town and the purpose-built walkways and everything that have been laid out, but obviously you've got to have the mask on, the dog's got to be permanently on the lead, and there's always a lot more traffic and a lot more other walkers that you bump into. So suddenly going from that to this is my idea of paradise, coming out here. Wonderful tracks like this. Now, we often get asked, you know, you say the Rambla, and we just obviously we live here and been here for a long time, so we just drop, oh, the Rambler, the Rambler. What's a Rambler? A Rambler is effectively a water course, if you like, a riverbed. As you can see, these are all dry as a bone, as are all the ones around here. The water didn't disappear naturally. Many years ago, dam lakes were formed. Effectively, you know, someone turned off the tap. The water didn't run all through the year, it was predominantly through the winter, but they were active riverbeds with running rivers. Many years ago, the tap was turned off and dam lakes have been formed up in places, Buffer, Negritin, for example, one of the ones for this area, and that's effectively taken the water out of these riverbeds, leaving them dry. Now, big advantages to this is where you find a lot of the citrus groves and stuff, because the soil that was left behind is probably the most fertile. 2, you're not allowed to build on the Rambler because from time to time we do get flash floods. You'll have seen them, I'm sure, and this is the course that takes the water through the towns. Well, it runs down the mountains, down the hills, hopefully ends up in the riverbeds, well, inevitably does, and then flows on through down to the coast, so keeping us protected in the main. I focused in on this kind of rocky outcrop up here because all the time I've been here, when we first arrived, I used to come for walks along this route, and there's a nesting pair of eagles that have come back year after year, and their nest is up there. I hope we might see them this morning, but not. Sorry for the crunching underfoot, but hey, it's authentic, huh? Now, just in the distance there, you can see a few of the houses and the villas which make up a little hamlet called El Rincon. El Rincon in Spanish translates to the corner. And we're going to wander up through there in a minute. Just the point of, it's quite striking to me that you've got some wonderful properties that sit along the frontage, overlooking, if you like, the Rambler, so you know that their views are going to be uninterrupted. When the people who are lucky enough to own these houses, they would have paid a premium for these because they're on the outside of a small community, uninterrupted, fantastic views. They can watch the sun up or sundown, perhaps depending on what position they're located in, and their views will never be taken away. So when they got these houses originally, they would have always paid a premium compared to a house that's maybe sitting 4 rows back, if you like, from overlooking the Rambler. Love it, look. Not a soul, just Dolly. So just turned 7:30, we're about 3 kilometres in now, and I don't know if you can see there behind me, but sunshine's just popped its head over the hill. So give it another 20 minutes and we'll be absolutely bathed in sunshine, not to worry. Got the faithful sun hat and the sunglasses. So let's make the most of it. I was just thinking, it's a Friday today. In 2 hours time, 2.5 hours time, we'll be opening the office for hopefully a busy day. But what a nice start to come out this early, have a blow, get rid of all the pressures and the stresses, and 2 hours later be sitting at the desk enjoying the day. So there over on my left you can see a chunk of El Rincon, and the big building sitting there at the foot of the hill, which you can probably make out is a restaurant bar, the Castillo. Very popular choice with people that live here in Arboleas and visitors when they come over. Very large restaurant bar, fantastic food, family run business, with a wonderful terrace that looks, if you like, down over the Almanzora Valley, and you can on a very good day see Albox quite clearly. Well, that's 12 kilometres away, so a wonderful lunch out in the shade, but overlooking magnificent views. And in front of me there you've got the village of La Cinta running up a crest of a hill, and it drops down into the valley, almost connecting onto the Rambler in front of me. I'm just coming up to, doesn't look like much, but it's actually quite a significant little T-junction here behind me. I'm opting to carry on going forward, but I could turn right here, and that joins me onto the bottom of a community called La Perla, which many of you all know. and from there it's a straight run back to the main town. 25-30 minutes max, and it's kind of all on the level. So if you only want to do an hour's circuit, for example, starting at the town, that's the perfect direction to follow. I'm actually going to go, as I said earlier, for a far longer kick out today. So I'm carrying on past that. I'm going to go up through the Cinta and make my way probably towards Los Carrascos. I don't know yet. We'll see how it pans out. So heading along in the direction of La Cinta, I've kind of diverted now up this very narrow little track. You can see there's some water at the bottom, so Dolly's been able to grab a nice drink, but only a small puddle, so nothing major. And I've come up through this little splitting, if you like, track. There's some bamboo canes, and then you can see the track opening up. And I'm hoping that this will come through these wonderful fruit, olive groves and citrus groves and take me into El Rincon. I don't know, and that's the wonderful thing about walking along these ramblers. There's those little tracks that divert off, and you think, hey, they're going somewhere, and then you realise when you've walked for about 1.5 kilometres or 2 kilometres that you just end up in a farmer's field with no through access. But fingers crossed this isn't one of those. Otherwise I might not be opening the office today. I could probably live with that. Dolly, who is no longer visible, is having an absolute fantastic time. You can see her here running through the long grass, probably picking up all manner of bugs and God knows what, but doesn't matter. She's got a flea and tick collar on, but bunnies in abundance, and none of them safe while Dolly's around. Mind you, she's not a very good hunter, because I don't think she's ever managed to catch one. You can see wonderful scenery. Oh my gosh, up there in the distance I've seen a person. So I did opt for the right track, thankfully, because there's nothing quite like kind of having a long walk on your hands and then doing a diversion that takes you 3 or 4 kilometres even further than you wanted to go. But no, got that right. We're just kind of wandering now into the hamlet of El Rincon, a little residential community, so I'll do a little bit of filming in there. But you can see I've had to put the sun hat on because now the sun's already coming up. It's getting quite hot, but had to don the mask as well. I want to put sunglasses on, but bloody things, you can't wear sunglasses when you've got a mask on, because I don't know about you, but for me, all they do is ever is steam up. You can't see a blooming thing. But because we're now coming into a lived-in area, residential area, obviously I've had to don the mask. Seems a bit bonkers because there's still at this time of day very few people about, so very sparsely populated, but them 'tis the rules at present. Doesn't make it enjoyable though, walking. So just really now at the start of the main part of El Rincon, I've passed about 4 properties. Very beautiful, long established residential community, probably 70 villas, maybe 60. Sits at the foot of this wonderful hill backdrop, and over to my left here there's a row, and they literally a front line over the Rambla. So where you saw the wonderful sunrise this morning, every morning, 7 o'clock, 7:30, they get to look out and the sun rises immediately in front of them. And through the day, goes over their gardens, over their pools, and then sets in the distance behind. I'm not going to do too much filming inside here, and to say, ideally I would like to have stayed on track as opposed to coming through a community, but I need to do this because I've set a particular distance for the route. So, but don't worry, it's literally, we'll be through the community in about 2 minutes and back out to the fantastic open countryside again. So there we have it. In just under 5 minutes I'm leaving the cluster of traditional Spanish houses and more modern villas that make up El Rincon behind me, and I'm now back onto the country roads. Now, you know, by all means, if you can and you want to, follow this route, but I wouldn't say this part now is for the faint-hearted. I've got a fairly tough uphill stretch on this kind of very little used country lane, I suppose, that cuts right cross country and ends up in Los Carrascos. on the other side of the Arboleas town. So not to be used as a shortcut, because it isn't actually a shortcut, but it's wonderful for walking because you get hardly any vehicular traffic. You're surrounded by open fields and meadows, but it's nicely up, very winding, beautiful country lane, but very steep in parts. But just the training I need in time for the Walk for Life charity walk on the 16th. A wonderful little vantage point here, just like an opening between the hills. And from here I can see the main road that runs between Arboleas down into Albox, where we did some filming the other day, right in the distance. And I'm looking down on El Prado, on into La Perla. I can see lots of the Arboleas communities opening up in front of me as far as the eye can see. So I've cracked the steep part, taken a much needed walk to stop. Vital you carry some water with you guys if you're going to do something like this. And now look, I'm mainly on the level, or it's on the level. We're going to be going gently downhill back towards the town now, but still got a good few kilometres in front. But you can see I'm just surrounded by wonderful undulating kind of open meadowland, really. Listen, nothing but the sound of the birds. Can't even hear dollies snapping in the bushes looking for rabbits anymore. Absolutely fantastic. I think, I don't know about you guys, but certainly the various lockdowns that we've been going through over the last year, you know, started in March last year, one thing they have done is kind of motivated me, certainly, and I hope they do also for you, to make the most of every day of freedom that we've got. I try every day now to go and do something different. Even it could just be going to a new bar and taking a coffee, but literally every single day I'm out trying to make the most of what's on the doorstep. Could be a jaunt down to the coast 30 minutes away, not spending great deals of money, you know, again, just taking 2 beers and a little bit of tapas or something, or out walking new routes out in the countryside. But you know, having been locked down for so much of last year, you realise how valuable these moments are. So you can see a big difference from where we were a little earlier on. Wonderful fly downhill now. That's why I've opted to do it this way. We've got all the steepness and everything and the climbs at the beginning, and now it's just a nice gentle amble at a pace downhill via Carrascos and back to the town. I'm not sure if these fine specimens count as wildlife, but a bit disappointed today with what's been spotted. Got up early, so I thought we might see some wonderful things, but other than rabbits and a couple of quail and these guys, not really much. Bit of a shame, because there's, you know, occasional wild boar spottings here. We got certainly foxes, a few badgers and stuff like that, but probably wasn't up early enough. Even get some ibex running around in the hills from time to time, so it would have been nice to see a few of those and show you, but just the luck of the draw. I appreciate we still can't travel back and forth between the UK and Norfolk and our families at the moment, but at least the border restrictions are down, so that does give us the opportunity to get out and seize the day, as it were. So just coming up to a T-junction, which signals for me the last 2k and the home run. If I get to this junction and turn to the right, then I'm immediately at the bottom of the Los Carrascos community, and behind that, you know, is Los Garcias. So I suppose the people that live in those communities could do this circular, very long route, but in the opposite direction. Although, I suppose if they did, unlike me, I've left the downhill to the home run, they'd have a very steep climb for the home run, so maybe not the best way to do it. I'm going to turn left at this junction, and now I've got a lovely max 2k downhill on a purpose-built pedestrian route back to the town. So just walking into the top of the town, coming in by the Azabachi, which we filmed yesterday, and out of interest or self-interest I timed that, and probably just under 2 kilometres from the T-junction there at the bottom of Carrascos, and that took precisely 9 minutes. And I'm just now walking past the gate to the Azabachi. So if you live in Carrascos and possibly Garcias, then a 12, maybe 14-minute walk down to the town. So easily doable if you fancy a nice beer and some refreshment. So there, we've cracked it. Just over 11 kilometres. Took precisely an hour and 56 minutes, so setting a fairly good pace there. Sweating, pumped, got a few twinges and tweaks that I didn't have when I started, but I think it's safe to say Dolly and I had a real hoot. What an experience. So enjoyable. But listen guys, I hope you've enjoyed it, and I hope you use these films or videos as we intend, you know, as an inspiration to get out there and make the most of the wonderful facilities, amenities we have in our towns, and these wonderful countryside walks and stuff, all on our doorstep. Again, if you're watching this from the UK and waiting to get over, we hope these films, videos have been helpful to you and really helped to highlight some of the amazing facilities, amenities, fantastic walks, etc. that we have here locally. You know, they offer a unique insight, we think, and allow you to see things as they really are. Hopefully you appreciate that. Hopefully you enjoy them. If you do, please subscribe to the channel, give us a thumbs up, and better still, make a comment, and we'll come back to you. See you soon, and have an amazing weekend.